The decade I chose for my project was the 2000s decade. This video explains pop culture in the 2000s. The things that influenced clothing the most during this time were celebrities and globalization, which is the rise of fast fashion or affordable clothes based off runway designs usually found in department stores like Mervyn's, JCPenney, and Macy's. The most common styles during this time were hip-hop, streetwear, emo, scene, and athleisure wear. The hip-hop look would include baggy jeans, tall t-shirts, sport jerseys, suits, bubble jackets, and puffer vests, along with boots or sneakers like Air Force Ones. In the early 2000s, women wore mesh or handkerchief tops, box pleated or leather skirts, shiny pants, and sparkly shoes. The men wore leather jackets, a statement shirt, and chunky shoes. In the mid-2000s, women began to wear yoga pants, low-rise jeans, capri pants, crop jackets, and dresses over jeans. The men would wear light-wash bootcut jeans, cargo shorts, classic rock t-shirts, and polos with pop collars. In the late 2000s, women wore miniskirts, and men would wear 1950s and 1980s throwbacks with Letterman and leather jackets. They also wore slim-cut jeans and Ed Hardy t-shirts. Some of the inventions of this decade were the iPhone, camera phone, USB flash drive, Bluetooth, Blu-ray disc, Facebook, YouTube, and Wii. The iPhone was created in 2007 by Steve Jobs and was described as a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device, and it was considered to be a revolutionary product. Bluetooth was important, and it was launched in 1999, but it wasn't until 2000 when companies began putting it into their products. Another important thing that was created was Facebook in 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg, and it was the largest social media network. It would go on to lead the path for other networks like Instagram and Snapchat and things like that. But when it first came out, it was created just for Harvard students, but as it became more popular, it expanded. In baseball, steroids started to take a turn because players were now trying new drugs that they didn't know what was going to do to their bodies, and in 2004, the MLB started doing drug tests to discourage players from using performance-enhancing drugs. In basketball, there were a ton of great players during this time, but it was the end of Michael Jordan's career, but there was plenty of rising talent in the NBA, including Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, LeBron James, and much more. In football, this decade was dominated by the Patriots and Colts, who were the only teams to win 121 regular season games. Also in soccer, the players' salaries were increasing rapidly. Pop and rap were the most popular types of music during this decade. For pop, some of the top artists were Britney Spears, NSYNC, and Backstreet Boys. For rap, the top rappers were Eminem, 50 Cent, and Nelly. Eminem was big because of his talent and his ability to throw down rhymes. Britney Spears, on the other hand, was also popular because of her first two albums establishing her as a pop icon and breaking a lot of different records. Also relating to music was Napster, which was a website that people could go to share music for free. But eventually it ended up getting shut down and filed a lot of legal suits against them by big-name artists who claimed that it was copyright for sharing their music for free. This time period is considered the time of advanced special effects, as the computers and technology that were rapidly developing allowed for better movies and shows because things could be edited and gone about differently. During this time, flat-screen TVs began to replace the box TVs, although they were really expensive and not a lot of people could afford them at first. High definition started to replace standard definition also at this time. In 2000, there was the first gay male kiss that occurred on U.S. television. That was a big step for that community. Some of the popular shows during this time were Friends, SpongeBob, Survivor, The Simpsons, The Office, and much more. Harry Potter began to be very popular during this time, although the first releases of the book came out in the last couple years of the 1990s. It would go on to be one of the most successful book series of this time period, as it was read by kids in elementary school and adults, along with everyone in between. Some of the other popular books were White Teeth, Cloud Atlas, Never Let Me Go, Runaway, and The Correction. At this time, there were no more true gender roles that people had to adhere to anymore. People were now free to go discover the world and live their life as they wanted to. Gender roles existed, but were basically more of a choice rather than what was expected. Now, women and men occupied more of the same types of jobs. Although they occupied the same type of jobs, women were still viewed as primary caretakers of the home and were expected to be polite and nurturing ones in the household. And men were still viewed as breadwinners and the ones that were supposed to be masculine and tough that didn't express too many emotions or feelings. Immigration increased from all different parts of the world. In the year 2000 was the highest increase in immigrants that the U.S. had faced at that time. There were a total of 31.1 million immigrants, and that made up 11.1% of the country's population. Racism against African Americans and other minorities is still extremely present in society, but at a smaller scale. After the September 11th attacks, it made a lot of people look at Middle Easterners people in a different way. They assumed all Middle Easterners were terrorists or bomb threats.